About the new ammunition law. If you want to buy.
Governor Brown signed a bill requiring an ID and background check for anyone buying ammo in California.
Another bill signed today bans high-capacity clips and magazines.
KPIX5's Kate Kogirin joins us with the changes facing gun buyers in California. Kate?
Well, Ken and Liz, here's what we know about the new ammunition law. If you want to buy ammo, you will be required to show your ID, and then your information will be cross-referenced in a database. If you're considered a violent felon or have a record that prohibits you from buying a gun, you won't be able to buy any bullets.
We're responsible. We use it for hunting. We use it for sports.
Adrian Renteria calls himself a responsible gun owner, one who willingly abides by California's strict laws.
People say that, guns are considered as weapons. Everything's a weapon, but, just people nowadays, they get offended by everything.
Today, the governor approved even more restrictions, including requiring buyers of ammunition to show ID and go through a background check. Supporters say this will help keep track of who's buying ammo.
There should always be at least a log where things are coming from and where things are going out and where they're, so I feel like that makes sense.
But those who are against the ammo law says it only adds bureaucracy to an already strict system. And the new law won't do anything to cut down on crime because criminals could simply build their own ammunition or buy it out of state or the black market.
That's the hard topic and a hard thing to actually grasp at and try to fix, because there's always going to be black market things happening and a lot of things happening underneath the government.
Adrian says he's all for the background check. It's just the other new laws that will make things harder for people who want to protect themselves.
Just taking away guns from responsible owners, that's something I don't agree with. There's a lot of good people out there that are responsible, and because of all these actions, we have to suffer for it.
Keep in mind, Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom has his own gun control referendum, which also calls for regulating ammunition sales. State Democrat lawmakers have been pushing for Newsom to withdraw his measure. They're afraid it'll only boost turnout amongst Republican voters who oppose gun control. Kate Kogirin, KPIX5.
The governor did veto 5 of the 11 bills sent to his desk. One of them would have limited people from buying more than one long-range gun in a 30-day period. The National Rifle Association released a statement calling the gun control package, quote, draconian, saying it turns, quote, California's law-abiding gun owners into second-class citizens. The group says it is prepared to pursue all options.
Gun owners challenge California's large-capacity magazine ban. Police state daily, California gun owners have filed a federal lawsuit challenging the state's ban on so-called large-capacity magazines. Filed in Fresno on Friday by the Call Guns Foundation, the Firearms Policy Coalition, the Firearms Policy Foundation, the Second Amendment Foundation and 7 private citizens, the lawsuit contends the ban violates constitutional rights. Cinched by Governor Jerry Brown last year, Senate Bill No. 1446 goes into effect on July 1. It prohibits any person in the state from lawfully possessing any large-capacity magazine, regardless of the date the magazine was acquired. The law defines large-capacity magazine as anything holding more than 10 rounds. Violators face up to a year in jail, a fine of up to $100 for the first offense, a fine of up to $250 for a second offense and a fine of up to $500 for third or subsequent offenses. Of course, the law provides exemptions for any federal, state, county, city and county, or city agency that is charged with the enforcement of any law, for use by agency employees in the discharge of their official duties, whether on or off duty, and where the use is authorized by the agency and is within the course and scope of their duties. If the law is such a good idea, why doesn't it apply to cops? The common justification is because officers put themselves in harm's way and need to protect themselves from criminals. Shouldn't private citizens be able to protect themselves in the same manner? How many cops do you think would support a law like this if it applied to them? Not very many. Why then is it acceptable for politicians to hinder us little people with a 10-round limit their enforcers would never wish to comply with? In the words of the great French philosopher and economist Frédéric Bastiat, who described this mindset as the superhuman idea in his short work, The Law. Do not the legislators and their appointed agents also belong to the human race? Or do they believe that they themselves are made of a finer clay than the rest of mankind? They would be the shepherds over us, their sheep. Certainly such an arrangement presupposes that they are naturally superior to the rest of us. And certainly we are fully justified in demanding from the legislators and organizers proof of this natural superiority. There are many reasons one may need a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. What if an individual is attacked by multiple assailants? Violent criminals usually work in tandem and act in groups. Criminals do not respect laws, that's why they are criminals. Is it a good idea to limit defensive capabilities by complying with a law that others wish to explicitly exploit? What about civil disturbances that take place in the wake of things like riots or natural disasters? Have you seen the Reginald Denny beating and insanity that took place during the LA riots? What about the looting and destruction that took place after Hurricane Katrina? Don't individuals who wish to protect themselves and their property need more than just 10 rounds in these situations? Of course they do, but it is telling how National Guard troops and police forces have responded to things like Katrina, where they illegally confiscated firearms from lawful citizens and dragged them out of their homes. This irrevocably speaks to the greater reality of why gun ownership and the ability to possess large capacity magazines is so important, because one day, defense may be required against the government. Any student of history knows this to be a very real possibility. In the 20th century alone, governments and their enforcers, like police, are responsible for killing more than 262 million of their own citizens. Much of this democide followed the confiscation and outlawing of firearms that often started with things like menial restrictions. According to Friday's lawsuit, large capacity magazines are an intrinsic part of all semi-automatic firearms and are not merely individual pieces of personal property, but rather, are intrinsic and inherent constitutionally protected parts of constitutionally protected firearms. Senate Bill No. 1446 requires that all California residents remove, destroy, or surrender all large-capacity magazines prior to July 1. Enforcement of this ban would immediately place thousands of law-abiding California gun owners in jeopardy of criminal liability and subjects their personal property to forfeiture, seizure and permanent confiscation, Second Amendment Foundation founder Alan M. Gottlieb said. This is government taking, without due process or compensation. We cannot allow that to go unchallenged.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, you know, at least I can do it, you know, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.